Hare Krishna Prabhuji, you're on mute. Hare Bol. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhan Pranam, you're on mute.
I can hear now.
Not really. I don't think so. Still showing you as muted. Jai Prabhu, are you able to hear Narayan Kesha Prabhu?
I can hear you, but not I can hear Prabhu now.
Yeah, no. So that's yeah. So we just need to let him know that we can't hear him.
Okay.
Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes. Yeah. So all the
Okay.
time we are not able to hear you, Prabhuji. Apologies for
I
that.
think it's my fault. We'll start again. I'm glad you're all here. We'll have to start again.
Hare Bol.
Right. Thank you so much for pointing that out, Prabhu.
No problem.
Okay, so we're talking about King Amshuman today and his praise to Kapil Muni. And so how it all started, Maharaj Sagar was attempting to execute a great horse sacrifice and called the Ashwamedha Yajna. So he was a very exalted and pious king, and they was do Ashwamedha Yajna for auspicious reasons. But Lord Indra, he was always fearful of his position. Every time somebody did something, last time we talked about how the Narayan were doing tapasya, and he got worried about his position. Now Maharaj Sagar, he's doing Ashwamedha Yajna. He's worried about his position, he's always worried, and then he tries to intervene somehow. And Srila Prabhupada mentioned that this illustrates that even greatly pious activities create reactions that keep one bound by Maya. So even for one elevated to the exalted post of King of Heaven, they can have attachments and problems like this. So what happened? Lord Indra stole the sacrificial horse and left it at the ashram of Kapil Muni. And later, when the sons of Sagar, they went out searching for the horse, they found it tied up outside the ashram of Kapil Muni. And being influenced by the mode of passion, they couldn't recognize Lord Kapil and mistook him for a thief. And this is Kapil Muni, Devhuti Mata's son, the reincarnation of the Lord. So with great anger, they ran toward him with upraised weapons, eager to kill him, and then he opened his eyes. And all the sons of King Sagar were immediately burned to ashes by heat from within their own bodies. So Sri Prabhupada said that some commentators think that Kapil Dev burnt them with his glance, but that was not the case. It was because the sons of Sagar Maharaj had offended a great personality. The heat of their own bodies had increased and they were burned to ashes. This is called spontaneous human combustion, as you know, and it's even quite common. Now you see TV programs showing these kind of situations, but it's very bewildering because the body is 70% water, and how can somebody just catch fire suddenly, sometimes in the sleep, like that? So it's quite bewildering. So the sons had now burnt to ashes, and when the king's son didn't return home, Amshuman, the grandson of Maharaj Sagar, was ordered by the king to search for the horse, and following the same path traversed by his uncles, Amshuman gradually reached the stack of ashes and found the horse nearby. So grandson of Maharaj Sagar went to the ashram of Lord Kapil and saw the horse there. But Amshuman, he immediately recognized Lord Kapil as the personality of Godhead, offered his praise. In this way, he pleased the Lord and retrieved the horse. So Amshuman said, while he was there, because he recognized Lord Kapil, he said to Lord Kapil, and the prayers are written in the chat box, so you can see. It says, "My Lord, even Lord Brahma is to this very day unable to understand your position, which is far beyond himself, either by meditation or by mental speculation. So, what to speak of others like us, who have been created by Brahma in various forms as demigods, animals, human beings, birds, and beasts? We are completely in ignorance. Therefore, how can we know you who are the transcendents?" So he had realized that something had drastically gone wrong with his uncles, and they were now burnt. So he's explaining that it's very hard to recognize you as you are. Even Brahma can't recognize you. So how can us mere mortals, uh, the human beings can recognize you? So all living entities are born into delusion, overcome by the dualities of desire and hate, and all living beings in the material world are influenced by three modes of material nature. Even Lord Brahma is in the mode of goodness. Similarly, the demigods are in the mode of passion, and living entities lower than the demigods, such as us, human beings are, and animals are in the mode of ignorance, or sometimes in the mixed goodness, passion, and ignorance mode. So therefore, Amshuman wanted to explain that because of his uncles who had burnt to ashes, were under the modes of material nature, that they didn't do it on purpose. It wasn't their intention. It was just that they were under the modes of material nature. They were under illusion. They couldn't understand Lord Kapil Dev. And because you are beyond even the direct and indirect intelligence of Lord Brahma, he prayed, unless we are enlightened by your Lordship, it will not be possible for us to understand you. And my Lord, one is favored by even a slight trace of the mercy of your lotus feet. He can understand the greatness of your personality. So we need God's mercy. If we want to understand Him, we can't understand Him by our own intelligence or speculation. But those who speculate to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead are unable to know you, even though they continue to study the Vedas for many years. The Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, can be understood by one who is favored by the Lord. The Lord cannot be understood by others. So here we go. And then he continues to pray, "My Lord, you are fully situated in everyone's heart, but the living entities covered by the material body cannot see you, for they are influenced by the external energy conducted by the three modes of material nature, their intelligence being covered by Sattva Gun, Raja Gun, and Tama Gun. They can see only the actions and reactions of these three modes of material nature. Because of the actions and reactions of the modes of ignorance, whether the living entities are awake or sleeping, they can see only the workings of material nature. They cannot see you, your Lordship." So, Sri Prabhupada said that unless one is situated in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, one is unable to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Lord is situated in everyone's heart. However, because the conditioned souls are influenced by material nature, they can see only the actions and reactions of material nature. That's all we can see. This is how our eyes are. We can only see, because our eyes are material, we can only see material things, but not the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One therefore must purify himself internally and externally. Apavitra pavitrava sarvastham goto piva yes samrat pundrikaksham sabeha bihantra shuchi. That's the prayer we do when we take Ganga Jal and purify ourselves internally. So to keep ourselves externally clean, we bath daily, and for internal cleanliness, we must cleanse the heart by chanting the Hare Krishna mantra. And Sri Prabhupada said the members of the Krishna consciousness movement must always follow these principles. Then it will one day be possible to see the Supreme Personality of Godhead face to face. Then King Amshuman continues, "O my Lord, sages freed from the influence of the three modes of material nature, sages such as the four Kumaras, Sanat, Sanak, Sanandana, and Sanatan, are able to think of you who are concentrated in knowledge. But how can an ignorant person like me think of you?" Uh, Sri Prabhupada said that the word Sabhav refers to one's own spiritual nature, or original constitution position. When situated in this original position, the living entity is unaffected by the modes of material nature. Saguna samityetam brahma bhuya kalpate. Transcending the three modes brings us to the level of Brahman. So as soon as one is freed from the influence of the three modes of material nature, he is situated in the Brahman platform. So this is why we need to get out of the three modes of material nature to get into the pure goodness, and that is the Brahman platform. And vivid examples are given here. Personalities situated as the four Kumaras, Narad. Such authorities can, by nature, understand the position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but a conditioned soul like us, not freed from the influence of material nature, is unable to realize the Supreme. And in Bhagavad Gita 2.45, Krishna advises Arjuna, Tre Guna Vishaya Veda Nistre Guna Bhav Arjuna. One must rise above the influence of three modes of material nature. One who stays within the influence of three modes of material nature is unable to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. O completely peaceful Lord, all the material nature, fruitic activities, and the consequent material names and forms are your creation. You are unaffected by them. Therefore, your transcendental name is different from material names, and your form is different from material forms. You assume a form resembling a material body just to give us instructions like those of Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna comes to us in the material world. He looks like a normal material human being, but he's not. His body is transcendental. But actually, you are the supreme original person. I therefore offer my respectful obeisance unto you. Material contamination, however, is completely absent from the Supreme Personality of Godhead and is pure devotee. Therefore, the Lord is addressed as Prashant, completely peaceful. Free from the disturbances of material existence, the Supreme Lord has no material name or form. Only the foolish think that the Lord is name and form are material. The identity of the Supreme Lord is that He is the original person. Nonetheless, those who have but a poor fund of knowledge think that the Lord is formless. The Lord is formless in the material sense but He has turned into form Satchit Ananda. That's His form, not the material form that we associate. So then King Amshuman continues, O my Lord, those whose hearts are bewildered by the influence of lust, greed, envy, and illusion are interested only in false hearth and home in this world created by your Maya. Attached to home, wife, and children, they wander in this material world perpetually. O super soul of all living entities, O personality of Godhead, simply by seeing you, I have now been freed from all lusty desires, which are the root cause of insurmountable illusion and bondage in the material world. So, after hearing Amshuman's praise, which very nice praise Amshuman did, and then King Shukdev Maharaj, Shukdev Goswami explaining to King Parikshit that when Amshuman had glorified the Lord in this way, the great sage Kapil, the power incarnation Vishnu, being very merciful to him, explained to him the path of knowledge. So, he had made Kapil Dev happy with his praise, he made him satisfied, and now this is the reply of Kapil Dev Muni. The personality of Godhead said, My dear Amshuman, here is the animal sold by your grandfather for sacrifice. Please take it. As for your forefathers who have been burned to ashes, they can be delivered. So he's giving the solution now how you can get them delivered, because their souls were, didn't get delivered the way they were that they had died, and can be delivered only by Ganges water and not by any other means. So thereafter Amshuman circumambulated Kapil Muni and offered him respectful obeisances, bowing his head, and after fully satisfying him in this way, Amshuman brought back the horse meant for sacrifice, and with this horse Maharaj Sagar performed the remaining ritualistic ceremonies. And after delivering charge of his kingdom to Amshuman, now here Amshuman becomes a king, and thus being free from all material anxiety and bondage, Sagar Maharaj, following the means instructed by Aruba Muni, achieved the supreme destination. So Sagar Maharaj now leaves the material world and goes to the supreme destination. King Amshuman, or rather Amshuman, becomes the king, and this is the story of King Amshuman praying to the Lord Kapila. So this story actually it's really about offending great personalities, or Vaishnava aparad. That's the teachings in this story up to now. This is a two-part story. Next week we talk about Bhagirath, King Bhagirath, who brings Ganges down to deliver his family, his uncles or great uncles. So that's next week. So we're talking about offending great personalities. Srila Prabhupada mentions that this story of the sons of Saga shows how dangerous it is to offend great personalities. And when conditioned souls fail to distinguish between genuine sadhus and posers, they are prone to create harmful reactions which are often more severe than ordinary bad karma. So Vaishnava aparad is the worst type of karma or aparad that you can do, which we are told again and again. But sometimes we do get carried away, myself as well, that we can offend great devotees. So ability to recognize pure devotees, and this incident illustrates, Sri Rupa mentions, that no one, not even the son or disciple of great persons, can understand God or the pure devotees unless he first frees himself from the modes of material nature, particularly the influence of passion and ignorance. So this is why it's so important to stay in the mode of goodness, because while in the mode of passion and ignorance, we can do a lot of aparadhs. So we need to stay in the mode of goodness, and by chanting Hare Krishna and following the regulative principles, we can do that. And one who stays within the influence of the three material modes is unable to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Sattva Sanjate Jnanam, from the mode of goodness, real knowledge develops. And Srila Prabhupada explains that it is therefore the duty of a devotee to control his senses and mind through sadhana bhakti. In this way, we become freed from the lower modes of nature and are elevated to sattva guna and then to transcendental goodness. So this story, would seem that the bogus yogis and sadhus have been around for a long time. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, I think Kapil Muni is in the Satyug. So even then, they were bogus yogis and sadhus by the. So this is why. I mean, how otherwise? Why did the sons of Sagar jump to the conclusion that Kapil Dev was a fake? In other places in Bhagavatam, we find Agastya Rishi thought Maharaj Indradyumna was faking samadhi with his eyes closed to avoid serving him, uh, as an exalted guest. So he therefore cursed Indradyumna Maharaj to become a dull elephant. Similarly, Maharaj Parikshit, while severely thirsty after hunting in the forest, thought devotee sage was faking samadhi to avoid receiving him. He therefore insulted the sage and cursed to die by the sage's son. And even Prabhupada says that before meeting Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, Srila Prabhupada was suspicious of the so-called sadhus because he had seen that most of them were fakes. These incidents illustrate the importance of being able to recognize genuine devotees. But it's very difficult. It's very, very difficult to recognize, who is genuine and who is not. Uh, Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 7.3, Manushanam sesreshu kashtin yatati siddhe yatatam api siddhanam kashtin mam veti tattvataha. Out of many thousands among men, one may endeavor for perfection, and of those who have achieved perfection, hardly one knows me in truth. So, however, Krishna can be known only by persons who are in Krishna consciousness. Other transcendentalists may achieve impersonal Brahman realization, for this is easier than understanding Krishna. Krishna is the Supreme Person, but at the same time, he is beyond the knowledge of Brahman and Paramatma. The yogis and gyanis are confused in their attempt to understand Krishna. This is why devotional service is recommended. and all are the greatest of the impersonalists. Atha Sri Krishna Namadi Nabhavet Graham Indriya Semamukhe Jivada Sem Eva Spurti Adaha. No one can understand transcendental nature of the name, form, quality, and pastimes of Sri Krishna through his materially contaminated senses. Only when one becomes spiritually saturated by transcendental service, so this is devotional service to the Lord, are the transcendental name, form, quality, and pastime of the Lord revealed to him, and that's mentioned in the Padma Puran. So this is the situation. It's very, very difficult to recognize the Lord, recognize the great devotees. Even Sripad had problems with a lot of fake gurus, and we hear and see all the time in the news that how fake gurus, even up to now, we see fake gurus taking advantage of people. So it's a dilemma, but at the same time, we have to be very careful that we don't offend anyone. Actually, we shouldn't offend anyone. We should be sensitive to other people's feelings, and we should be very careful with our speech, with the tongue, and make sure that we don't upset anyone, because we don't know that there could be genuine Vaishnavas, exalted devotees, and then if we upset them, then we have to pay a very big price. Bigger the offense, and this the biggest Vaishnava front, then the biggest penalty we have to pay for that. So let's have a little discussion on this. And I want to start with Pratish Prabhu. Prabhu, are you there?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, yes
Krishna.
Prabhuji.
Thank you so much, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. So Prabhuji, yeah, so this is really interesting pastime when it starts with the son, the father of Anshuman, basically, who's Anshuman, who's basically was a yogi in previous life, but it's correct. It's said that, as you also mentioned, that one should not be born with the pious activities and impious activities, basically, because those creates bewilderment in the material world. Although he was a very pious person in his previous birth, but because of the pious activity, he also got mystic powers, and he got bewildered. Right? This bewilderment also not sufficient for. Didn't help him to recognize a personality of Godhead, Supreme Personality of Godhead in his form as Kapila Muni. So that is very interesting. But then it also tells us the service attitude of Anshuman, basically, towards the seniors, pure devotees, and personality of Godhead, which includes his own grandfather, King Sagara, where he was very much devoted to uh, serve his grandfather. And although he understood that his parents and uncles, and his father and uncle were not able to perform it, he still tried to serve his grandfather, trying to find the horse. Once he found it, he was still taking very humble position that he can't actually complete it until there is blessings from God. So there's endeavor that we should be doing. We shouldn't just rely on the benedictions, blessings, but we should be actually endeavoring. So endeavor is important, as well as that endeavor won't be that endeavor will not be successful until there is um, blessings of the Lord. So that is also very important. So with those two, with both of them, he was successfully doing. He was able to retrieve the horse and deliver his grandfather. But as it went on, he also didn't. Although he was crowned as a king, but he was still doing a lot of tapasya or sacrifice to uh, deliver his father and uncles as well. So although he was not successful in doing so, but he still continued. So it's also very important that regardless of our endeavor, it doesn't go in vain. So we must keep on practicing with all patience and hopefulness and hopeful for the mercy of the Lord with our sadhana, and someday it will be possible to please Lord with the mercy of devotees, and that's how that is a success basically. And by the mercy of devotee, the ultimate success, that's prema for the Supreme Lord might arise. I mean, one should be hopeful for that. So that's also very important. This principle also go for the book distribution. I mean, because we keep on endeavoring, but we don't get success most of the time. But that doesn't mean we should say that I wasn't successful. It's a strike basically that we leave on the impression that we leave while doing book distribution to the heart whom we interact with, and that forms a base. And next time he meet some different devotee doing the same, doing the um, book distribution, he will have some respect because of the impression that we have left. And probably 3 or 4 times after, someone would be successful in giving a transcendental book to him. So I mean, but it's not the person who gave him the book, it's also the efforts or the interaction of the very first devotee who was not able to give him a book. So it same principle applies over here. We can see the principle where King Saga was doing Ashwamedha Yajna, but then his son Anjasman was all the bewildered, but there was an effort. Then Anshuman actually uh, put some efforts, although he wasn't completely successful. His son Dilipa then put some efforts, although he wasn't successful. Then Bhagirath was successful. So we should be hopeful, and we should be keep on endeavoring to uh, achieve the ultimate benefit, and by the mercy of everyone, by the mercy of the Lord. Thank you, Prabhu.
Sure. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, I wonder myself that why is Amshuman so humble and he was an exalted devotee, or why he couldn't be successful, and then further his other generations. I mean, Bhagirath was way down, in the lineage. He was successful, which we'll talk about next week. But he was. Why was Amshuman not successful, and then others after him were not successful, and he was left to Bhagirath to bring the Mother Ganges to earth. So that's a very interesting topic as well, and we can discuss that next Friday. So yeah, it's amazing what you've said, that even Sharapad, 40 years it took Srila Prabhupada, and he didn't give up. His enthusiasm was never lowered. He continued to endeavor for 40 years before he became successful and came to the West and became successful. I mean, he could have given up a long time before that. Things weren't going his way. His godbrother was causing a lot of problems. He started something, a school in India that didn't work out very well. His business practice didn't work out very well, but yet he continued, and we'll actually learn from Srila Prabhupada. We follow in his footsteps, and then we have these exalted devotees who also teach us lessons that how we can follow. So patience is very, very, enthusiasm and patience, as mentioned by Rupa Goswami in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. That's very, very important to do that to advance in bhakti. Okay, I know Kamal Mataji has put a question. I'll just answer that in a minute. Mataji, just want to hear something from Sarveshriya Mataji. Are you there?
Yeah, Hare
Hare
Krishna,
Krishna.
Prabhu.
Anything
Hare.
to put on that, Mataji?
Yeah, well, you have covered most of the topics.
Okay.
Well, everyone is born of different material nature in this world,
Yeah.
goodness, passion, and ignorance. And because of that nature, they act differently. Everybody is not the same. Like Ashuman's uncle, when they went to Kapil's Muni's ashram, just seeing the horse, they concentrated on the horse. They didn't concentrate on the Muni, how he is, his disposition. And they got so angry that because of that anger, the fire emanates from the body and it burned them. And on the contrary, Kapil Muni, when he seen the horse, but he paid attention to the Muni and
Yes.
see how the Muni was. And then he started praying and glorifying him. He sees his position. So that's why we have to, when we see anybody, we can't judge just straight away. We have to think twice, because Anshuman's uncle, they didn't think anything, just seen the horse and then concentrated on the horse, and they were very angry. So unless you are above the mode of material nature, you can't see goodness in anybody. You will see everybody just like you. And just like the Anshuman's uncle, they couldn't recognize Kapil Muni. Same like in Mahabharata, when Krishna was on this planet Earth, there was Kauravas and Pandavas. Pandavas knew that Krishna is personality of Godhead because the Pandavas were in a good mode of goodness. But the Kauravas then didn't recognize Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. So it's very hard to judge person unless you are above the three modes of material nature. That's why we've got Bhagavad Gita, and Krishna teaches us to rise above the mode of material nature to pure goodness. So then you can see goodness in everybody. That's what I can say. Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji. Rimpi Mataji, you have your hand up. Hello.
Sorry.
I think Rimpi Mataji want to ask a question, Mataji.
Can you hear me
Yes, Mataji.
now? Yeah. Okay. No, I just wanted to comment on what Mataji just said, and I think I really liked what she said. It teaches us that if your concentration or focus is right in life, then you can focus more on God, and that this concentration, I think, can be right or can come with the devotion, true devotion towards God. And I think what Mataji said, that the sons only concentrated on the horse, and they did not see God in that Muni, whereas the father did. So I think because the father had true devotion for God and he had the right concentration, so he treated the Muni really well, and he pleased Muni. But whereas sons couldn't do it, so our focus and attention should be right in life. So to have a right focus and attention, we need to like chant, or we need to chant more, and we need to improve our chanting as well.
Absolutely, absolutely right. I mean, I think it's chapter 6, Dhyan Yoga. That's what it concentrates on.
Yeah.
Focus. It's all about focus.
Yeah,
And
that's it. Yeah.
if we are internally in the mode of goodness, then as we were talking about, I think last week or week before, that it's when we found out, I think Pratish Prabhu mentioned about, when you're under pressure, how you behave. That's the important, that's what's inside you. We can pretend to be very nice, very polite, and very sweet and calm, but when we're under pressure, then the reality comes out, whether you're a man or a woman. The reality comes out. So if we practice a mode of goodness, then hopefully with God's grace, only goodness will come out when we're under pressure. When we're sweet,
5 o'clock. You can have it.
pressure, only goodness will come out. So you're absolutely right, Mataji. Thank you so much. Right. Um, okay, because we're running short on time, so I'll just answer that question, Kamal, what Mataji was asking. So you wanted to know about Sat is Sat, Chit, Ananda. Is three things, three qualities. We have them, and Krishna has them. We are obviously limited in our qualities, where Krishna is unlimited. Sat means eternal. So we are as spirit souls, we are eternal, and the Lord is also eternal. So we don't die. Basically, our only material body is destroyed, but the spirit soul doesn't die. So it's eternal. And Chit means we are full of knowledge, but our knowledge is covered by Maya at the moment. So Chit is knowledge, and Ananda means we are full of bliss. We are actually we are happy. We are full of Ananda. We are full of bliss, but because we are again covered by the modes that we get we're attached to things, and we get angry, lusty, these things happen. But we are actually just like Krishna is Atmaram, he's self-satisfied, as the soul is also happy in the service of Lord Krishna, not in the service of material things. We are happy by connecting with the Atmaram. We are happy. So this is the situation. Sat Chit Ananda. The Chit part, full of knowledge of ourselves, and full of knowledge of Lord Krishna. What our relationship is. That's the knowledge. Our position, Krishna's position, and our position in relation to Krishna. And when you are full of knowledge, you actually find out that we don't have any knowledge. That's when you have real knowledge. When you realize that you don't really have any knowledge by ourselves, we are completely zero. When we connected with Krishna, then the knowledge we get, or the knowledge we get from scriptures, it's all due to the mercy of Krishna. We don't. He has given us everything, intelligence and everything. So we are. Sri Prabhupada mentioned that we are full number one. That's Sri Prabhupada's word, that we are full number one, and we don't know nothing. Anything we know, anything we have gained, is through the mercy of Lord Krishna, and that is the true knowledge. Which at the moment we get puffed up, we get arrogant, we lack humbleness. It's only because we lack knowledge, not because we have a lot of knowledge. It's because we lack real knowledge. So Satchit Ananda. So hope that explains a little bit about that. So thank you, Mataji. I just wanted to just quickly, before we do a couple of rounds of chanting, uh, there's a story about Sanatana Goswami. So we're talking about Vaishnava Prad. The story about Sanatana Goswami. He was meditating on the pastimes of Lord, and while he was meditating, there were some funny incidents in the pastime, and he just burst into laughter. And at the same time, there was a Brahmin just walking past where he was meditating. And because he laughed, the Brahman, I think he had some kind of impediment, maybe the way he walked, or he had some other issue, thought that Sanatana Goswami was laughing at him. So he got very offended by him laughing. And as he got offended, Sanatana Goswami, he woke from his pastime. Actually, he was taken out of his pastime, and he realized it, that something's gone wrong, that I've sort of lost the signal or lost the contact of the pastime. I have done something wrong. I have committed some kind of aparadh, that I just been taken out of the pastime. So he's wondering that who have I offended? How have I offended somebody? But because the Brahman had already gone past, he wasn't sure, what to do now. So he thought about it, and he came up with an idea. He thought, what I'll do, I'll have a big feast in my house, and I will invite everybody, all the exalted devotees, everybody. I will invite everybody, and whoever doesn't turn up, I will know then that is the person who didn't accept my invitation. I have offended him. So he did that. He had a feast, and there was one Brahman who he didn't come to his feast, and then he realized that oh my God, this is the Brahman I have offended. So he went to him and begged his forgiveness, and he explained that you were laughing at me, and he explained that, look, I was not laughing at you. I was in meditation. I was in a pastime, and but I did realize that I have offended some exalted person, and he asked his forgiveness. So this should be our position. Even by mistake we offend somebody, we should humbly ask for forgiveness. I mean, we don't have to, but it's best if we do, because if we want to advance in bhakti, then that is the only way to keep the exalted devotees happy, in fact keep everyone happy and keep the Lord happy, because the mercy flows through the devotees. Krishna does not give us direct mercy. It comes through the devotees. So very important to keep devotees happy and not cause Vaishnava Prad. So hope that makes some kind of sense. Thank you so much, Sureshi Mataji. Are we ready for a couple of rounds of again
Yes.
chanting? So let's all concentrate on this and do a sadhana together. Thank you so much.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pasaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namne Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Vicharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschata Devatarane. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasati Gaura Bhakta Binda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare
Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Krishna
Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram